Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Exchange. Today is November 19th, 2025, and here is the news that you can use. Today's rundown is all about dependency and leverage. On one side, you have hyperscalers racing to control the front door of enterprise AI. On the other, you have a Cloudflare outage reminding everyone that a single misstep at one vendor can take out huge swaths of the internet. In between, new data platforms, design-to-app pipelines, industrial control system advisories, and a managed service provider breach are all going to hit your budget, your risk register, and your transformation roadmap over the next 90 days. We start with Google. Yesterday, Google introduced Gemini 3, calling it its most intelligent AI model so far, and immediately wired it into Google Search as well as the broader Gemini product stack. You can now reach Gemini 3 not just in the standalone Gemini app, but also through AI Studio and Vertex AI, which means this model can sit directly in front of your enterprise data and applications if you are a Google Cloud customer. For technology leaders, this moves Gemini from a lab curiosity to a production control plane. The questions to answer are simple but urgent. How much of your enterprise search, knowledge management, and app development do you want to route through Google? What are the data residency and compliance implications? And how does this fit into a multi-model strategy that might already include OpenAI, Claude, or your own in-house models? Turning to infrastructure, the big shock yesterday was Cloudflare. On November 18th, a bad configuration file in Cloudflare's bot management module triggered widespread internal errors that spilled out as 500-class responses across its global network. For several hours, major platforms including ChatGPT, X, Spotify, Canva, and others showed internal server error pages or simply would not load at all. Cloudflare handles traffic for roughly 1/5 of all websites on the internet. So when they stumble, the outage looks like the whole web is on fire. Importantly, Cloudflare's leadership has been clear that this was not an attack. It was a self-inflicted change gone wrong. For CIOs and CISOs, that is almost more concerning because it highlights third-party concentration risk and change management weaknesses rather than a novel threat actor. This is your trigger to validate whether revenue-critical or citizen-facing services are single-homed on Cloudflare or any one provider, whether you have a realistic multi-CDN or failover plan, and whether your incident dashboards light up when an upstream provider degrades before your customers start sending screenshots on social media. In related AI platform news, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Anthropic have announced a deepened strategic partnership that formalizes Claude on Azure at massive scale. Anthropic has committed to buy $30 billion of Azure compute with the option to contract up to 1 gigawatt of capacity. In parallel, Microsoft and NVIDIA will invest up to $15 billion in Anthropic, tuning NVIDIA's next-generation AI hardware directly for Claude. For enterprise leaders, this moves Claude from being that other model you sometimes call via an API to a first-class citizen alongside OpenAI models in the Azure stack. This will affect your negotiations on GPU access and cloud discounts because Microsoft can now credibly offer a multi-model portfolio in one place. If you are building an AI platform team, the call to action is to map where Claude's strengths, reasoning, compliance posture, or safety features might complement or substitute for other models, and to ensure your governance and observability tools do not care which model is answering as long as the controls are the same. Shifting to the build side of the house, ServiceNow and Figma have announced a strategic collaboration that connects design artifacts directly into the ServiceNow AI platform. Using a new integration based on model control protocols, teams can turn Figma designs into prompts that auto-generate secure, scalable enterprise applications on ServiceNow. That means the journey from a design critique meeting to a working workflow could move from weeks to days or even hours in some cases. For CIOs, CDOs, and heads of product, the upside is clear, faster delivery, more consistent experiences, and less boilerplate code. The risk is that design files now effectively become source code. They can introduce logic flaws, access control mistakes, and data handling issues if they are not governed like any other part of the software development lifecycle. That means updating your SDLC to treat design repositories as regulated assets, putting guardrails on who can generate apps, and ensuring review gates still exist even when the machine is doing most of the assembly. Next, data foundations. At OpenText World 2025, OpenText unveiled its AI Data Platform, or AIDP, positioning it as an open framework that combines data governance, multi-cloud and multi-model support, and integration with its Aviator AI agents. For organizations that already rely on OpenText for content management, records, and archiving, this is not just another platform launch. It is a proposed backbone for how you expose that content safely to AI. The roadmap includes on-premise availability and deeper integration with partners like Databricks, meaning you could treat AIDP as a control plane that sees both structured and unstructured data across multiple environments. The leadership task here is to decide whether you want a vendor like OpenText to be that control plane, or whether you will centralize data governance elsewhere and treat AIDP as one of several consumers. Either way, ignoring it is not an option if your regulatory exposure is tied up in documents that already live in OpenText systems. From data platforms to physical plants, CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, released 6 new industrial control systems advisories on November 18th. One high-profile advisory covers Schneider Electric's EcoStruxure Machine SCADA Expert, describing vulnerabilities that could allow remote code execution or unauthorized actions on operational technology environments. Other advisories hit devices from additional vendors, all in the category of gear that keeps factories, utilities, and smart buildings running. For CISOs and OT security leads, this is the point where patch management and plant operations collide. You may not be able to patch every device quickly, but you can absolutely verify which sites are running affected versions, increase logging, tighten network segmentation, and adjust remote access policies while you schedule maintenance windows. Boards and regulators increasingly see OT risk as part of cyber risk, so being able to point to a structured response for these advisories is critical. Finally, a reminder that your attack surface includes everyone you pay to help you. BreachSense reports that Lincoln IT, a New York-based managed service provider, has suffered a data breach attributed to the Shinobi threat actor group, with a claimed leak size around 50 gigabytes. Lincoln IT provides cloud migration, infrastructure, cybersecurity, and business continuity services, which means its access into customer environments is often privileged and persistent. Even if you are not a Lincoln IT customer, this is a useful stress test for your own third-party ecosystem. Do you know which MSPs can reach your production systems? Do your contracts spell out breach notification timelines and your right to logs and forensics? And are MSP accounts enrolled in modern identity controls, like strong multi-factor, privileged access management, and just-in-time access? Or are they living indefinitely in the domain admin group? The answers to those questions will determine whether a third-party breach becomes an awkward email or a business halting incident. That's the exchange for today. Remember, inspect what you expect. If you are interested in how this newscast is created or want more information about how to be a part of it, contact podcasts@motorasolutions.com. That's podcasts with an S at motorasolutions.com.